So, did you make contact with aliens? Were you taken to another planet, to a mothership? How did they communicate with you? Can you tell me what they look like? Can you tell me how many of them there were? Were you given food?
But the teachers are alive. They're not books. They are the very living essences of nature itself.
What a strange person.
Unbelievably powerful supercomputer that's running our reality, and we don't have a clue as to how to operate it.
So when maybe you or somebody else creates an AGI system and you get to ask her one question, what would that question be?
What's outside the simulation?
Say in your mind, say to yourself, I am more than my physical body, because I am more than physical matter. I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world.
Do not know all the answers to the questions about reality. Do not claim to know the ultimate truth about life. I see death as just information. As a part of a family and its lures of consciousness. I'm the void now.
Welcome to Lighting the Void.
Broadcasting from a shack on a hill in the mossy creek bottoms of Cane Creek, Arkansas. This is Lighting the Void. It is the beginning of the weekend, Friday night, August 7th, on into the 8th, and we are live here on KTLK Digital Broadcasting. And tonight we are welcoming back the one and only Ameliía Aeon Karris from Know the Self. This is a series of shows that we've done with her, and she is a trusted colleague, I would say, in the field of conscious movement and a mentor of mine in so many ways. And so tonight we're going to be talking about something special that she has to present to you in the times of what's going on now. And these times that are happening now is obviously, we've been discussing this for since this COVID thing started, how there is this push to change, how we've all had to take this deep inside look to change. And some of us we can't get away from it. It's so big, it's so heavy. There's no way to get away from this feeling of that we're having to go in new directions in our lives. That this is like a once in a lifetime type of spiritual thing, I think, that's happening. And some of us need guidance and direction. And I believe that spirit, Gaia, the light, God, source, whatever you want to believe that runs this place, I believe that thing put certain people here to help guide others. And I believe that Ameliía Aeon Karris is one of those people. And if you've never heard of Amelía, if this is like your first time listening to the show, or you're new to the show, you'll want to go back and listen to the rest of them after tonight, I promise you. So Amelía is a master mystic and an international business consultant as well, author and a Kundalini activator, and she created Know the Self Mystery School for truth seekers to achieve self-mastery and ground their divine mission. Her healing abilities and clear vision were forged during a series of shamanic initiations that happened over a 9-year period that honed her multisensory awareness and crystallized her gifts. And if you want to hear about those stories, you can go back to any of the older interviews where she talks about that. She's been on other shows too, like Beyond the Strange, Fade to Black. There's a bunch of shows that she's been on. And her extensive past life recall was noted in India, first placing her on national TV and later addressing live audiences as many as 60,000 spiritual seekers at once. And over the last decade, through public speaking, teaching, and private coaching, she's helped thousands of people to liberate their minds, navigate expanding realities, and live out their divine destinies. And I would not be here. I'm not playing when I say this. I would not be here doing this and nothing else. I quit my job, and I was so afraid of the change that was being pushed on me that I felt. I remember calling Amelía, scared out of my gourd. I said, Amelía, I quit my job. This is what I know I'm supposed to do, and I'm so afraid. And she was just so happy. She's clapping and jumping up and down and happy, because it was the first time that I really trusted my spirit, that I took things in complete faith. And where the Fringe FM is today and Lighting the Void has everything to do with the mentorship of her and everything to do with that choice that I made. So if you want to know the basics about Amelía, you go to knowtheself.com. That's where you can get the book. Her mystery schools and her retreats are always there. The podcast that we play on this network, Love, Sex, and the Hidden Agenda, is there as well. But tonight, she's going to discuss what's going on with all of this stuff, with this, what we think it's COVID, but it's really something bigger. There's a big change coming. The astrology's pointed to it. People have talked about it. Our guests have talked about it. And, of course, as a way seer, she's going to open up a school that's going to help people because she has foresight. So she's opening up this school called Activate Your Mission. And that's what we're going to discuss tonight. And some of our students are going to testify as well. They're going to call in, and they're going to tell us how Amelía helped them discover their missions too. And if you really want to go check this out while you're waiting or while you're listening, you can go to thefringe.fm/soul mission. I'll drop the link in the chat room too. If you want to join our chat room, you can go to thefringe.fm/chat room. I almost said soul mission. And, yeah, of course, if you put in the code word Fringe when you go to that Soul Mission link, you're going to get a discount because Amelía always does that for us. And it's awesome to have you back. It seems like we used to talk like once every 3 months. Now it's like once a year. You're just doing your thing, huh? You know?
No, you haven't invited me. But yes, I'm here.
Of course,
and
it's my fault.
So good to be back. No,
well, you know what it is like I got a producer now who does all the booking. I don't really even book guests, and unless I go tell Pacho, I'm like, hey, can you try to get these people on, or I'll have them come on a Friday, because I told him I need this day open just in case I really want to do something special. And I think right now what you're doing, and I've investigated and started this school myself, is massive. Like, yeah, look, let's be honest. There's a lot of people out there that are taking. They see that people need guidance and they're developing courses and things like that. But I just don't think they hold. I'm not saying they can't do what you can do. I don't know. I just have faith in you because what you've actually done in my life has brought results in my life. So tell people about this new school that you've got going on now.
Yeah, well, it's not so new. It's been around since 2012, but the courses keep shifting and the energy keeps building. And right now, the course Activate Your Mission, I felt it was really important to help people remember. Life is hard. And right now, being in the pandemic and all this crazy change, no one can escape it. Before, when I opened the school in 2012, it was just those who are like really spiritually seeking, or someone who had, maybe a spontaneous awakening or something dramatic happened in their life. Maybe they got divorced, or they just didn't want to be a corporate slave anymore. So they would find me. But now it's happening to everyone. Like, everyone is being pressurized. Everyone's having an awakening. We are all in massive change. And when we go through change, we need guidance. We need tools. We need support to find our way out of it. And nobody's left from like when you're in the eye of the storm of change, you're terrified. You're just absolutely terrified. And people are grasping and looking for things and, you know, self-medicating and looking for whatever they can to either make it the way it was, like go back to normal.
Yeah.
But it's impossible. And right now we're all seeing that. And I think, you know, so many months into the pandemic, I felt it was important to kind of let people know that the school's there, and, you know, it has been there, but normally I work on, you know, word of mouth way. I don't like to advertise or really expose the school so much because it is such a cauldron of energy.
But I talked to you about that. I thought this was more important than anything, though. You know. Yeah,
right now it feels really important. So I'm, you know, getting more brave and, you know, from time to time, like I'll talk and I'll expose the school, and then I will, you know, be quiet for a long time because the energy gets really strong. Like when we start activating our mission and really remembering what we're here, like the potential of our human starseed and what we've come here to do, and we start really working with the energy that we have, it draws attention to us in different ways. And we have to go through a very uncomfortable process of basically recapitulating ourselves. So it feels like you're breaking into 1,000 pieces, and then you have to bring it all back together in a fluid way, not in a way that is based like in cement, which is what you want, but it never really happens like that. So you have to learn how to live kind of in this inside out. It's very vulnerable. And so the school creates like an incubation for that birthing process. And it gives people the support and the guidance and the tools that they need to birth themselves, because you know, there's so many schools out there or mentors and teachers you can go to, but sometimes you're learning the techniques that person has learned and is giving to you, in terms of like, if you want to do shamanic healing, you'll go to a shamanic training and you learn how to do soul retrievals, and you might learn Reiki, or you might learn how to run energy a certain way. In my school, I'm helping you wake up to who you are and your unique gifts, not necessarily teach you my gifts. So it's a different format. It's more of a counsel and a peer-to-peer experience of strong activations. So I sit with my students and I just help them activate their genius. And then when it starts to expand and take root and unfold, well, there's a whole series of experiences that they go through that they're going to need the support in as they start grounding in this new framework of their soul. Because we don't really understand the potency that each one of us holds, you know? We might think that we're here to do a certain thing, or we might define ourselves by the relationships that we're in, or by the skills that we learned, or, you know, the career that we've chosen. But when you really activate your soul seed, you start to be surprised at who you actually are. And it can be a little bit terrifying. And in that experience, there's a series of events that happen. Like you might feel so powerful, like get into a messiah complex, or your ego might, you know, swing in one direction, or you might fall into a pit of despair and think that, you know, everything you've done in your life was false suddenly. Or
that's what happened to me. I don't know if you remember, but when I was talking to you, you know, we were trading services, like kind of deal, but you couldn't help me like you could to your other students, but it still helped me a lot. And I remember like just how much despair I was going. I felt lost, man. Like, And I just remember how frustrated you would get with me on the phone. You'd be like, listen, like I've untold you, you got to do this and this. But you were really patient with me. And I mean this, Amelía, we wouldn't be here now where we're at without your intervention. I mean that.
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that. You were a typical person who's had like a massive awakening. You actually knew what your mission was, but you didn't have the business grounding to make it your livelihood. No. So it was like you were straddling two worlds. And I think so many people do that. They have an awakening and they know what they're here to do and they start doing it, but they don't know how to ground it into the manifest realm. And that's what I really do in my one-on-one mentoring, is help people put it into a manifest reality where their livelihood and their money and their lifestyle all can coalesce with their mission. It doesn't have to be two separate worlds, but for many of us, like, it initially starts that way. And also when you have a spiritual awakening, the first thing that kind of gets split into 1,000 pieces is your relationships, like love life, family life, and money. So a lot of people feel really broken once they've been cracked open. And this is a really sensitive, super delicate time. Some people don't have the mentorship and guidance to put the pieces together and come through, or it might take them many, many years. Maybe their family and friends just kind of don't know what to do with them because they're talking about all sorts of crazy things, like having all these, paranormal phenomena happening. And people feel alone. They feel really far out. And when you meet people and a group of people that are grounded, who actually have these experiences all the time, and it's not a big deal, it helps you stabilize yourself to just kind of get on with it.
I was just fixing to say that, because I was so out of it. Like, I remember you telling me, you were like, look, just stay focused, go out in nature and meditate, like, get some space for yourself. And I'm like, well, I need this amount of money, like right now. That's all I was focused on. And you're like, this isn't how you're blocking yourself. And you're like, look, I promise you, if you do this and this and this, that it may not even be money. It may be people. And I remember you saying, I bet you money, probably, that there's going to be people that come into your life that are going to be huge transitional type people for you in your life. That's going to help if you'll just allow it. And that's exactly what happened. So now I'm here because of you and those people that came after what you talked about, know. And I don't know.
Well, that's what happens is we get so ego driven, especially when we've had an awakening, because we've been woken to our genius or our intelligence. And, we can kind of get inflated and think we know everything. And then we're trying to make life work for us, which is really hard once we've been awakened, because it's like everything crumbles at first. And then we think that we know what we need, but we actually don't, or we think it has to show up in a certain way. And when we do that, that's when we block synchronicity. That's when we block the flow. And that's probably one of the hardest things to learn. I think everyone's in it right now with the pandemic. It's like we're waiting for things to open up the way they used to, or life to get back to some state of resemblance of what it was before. But what if this is the opportune moment to create something new that we haven't even dreamed up yet? Like, maybe we can't even imagine how good it could be on the other side if we allow everything to break down. Our fear makes us clench and grasp and try to get that glue out, and kind of, when a relationship is like the end of a relationship and it's sort of falling apart, and then you do everything you can to keep it together. And sometimes, like, that's what's needed, right? You need to, like, work harder and put the grit in. But what if you just let it be? What if you stop trying to control everything and just let the seed grow into the plant that it was designed to be?
Yeah, just stop trying to force it to happen all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, if I look back at all the times that my life fell apart, which I've had so many rebirths in my life, so many deaths and rebirths, whether it was, 2 divorces, losing my house in a fire, being so bedridden, sick twice in my life, both times for a year where I couldn't work. I was completely just saga after saga, where my life just changed suddenly. I've lived in 6 different countries. I've moved over 100 times. I've had, so many things where I didn't know that, this outside force was going to have a hand and change my life. Whether it was, last year it was my best friend dying. Now it's COVID, right? We never know when these things are going to hit. But when they fall apart, what I've learned again and again through retrospect is that when I allow it to be, when I accept what it is, such magic shows up. It's incredible. Magic, like angels appear out of nowhere. Synchronicity guides me to a place that is way better. It's like the next version 2.0 of the last version. Relationship 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0. It always gets better. It just gets better and better and better. And I think if we can accept that, or if we can trust that, our journey is going to be easier. But how do we trust that? Well, we need people that are there tracking it with us, helping it, teaching us how to track it, pointing it out. Like there were so many times I needed to point out to you, like, look, you're doing it actually. Because you were so scared. You almost gave up many times. I was like, don't you dare.
How am I doing it when everything is falling apart, right? And you're like, yeah, but you're not noticing these things that are, certain events that kept happening synchronistically. Seriously, synchronistically. Like some of this equipment that I have in the studio, just randomly, like I'll give you just a small example, and this is what you were trying to show me. I was worried about like what bill I was going to pay and how I needed all this money to feel comfortable and safe and everything again. And you're like, just don't worry about it, right? And so I said, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to go out into nature, whatever. That's what I'll do. I went to Board Camp Crystal Mine down there, and I needed new equipment, and I was putting out to the universe and to the audience, like, I got a wish list. I need this and that. And, I just quit my job, folks. So like, I'm freaking out, and I kept blaming it on you. That way it didn't make me feel so bad. Right. And, I met Cheryl and, down there in Orville, and Orville had just all of this audio equipment. And he was like, you can have this. Like, I'm not using it. And I'm like, that's a $1,200 mixer. You're just going to give it to me? He's like, well, it's just sitting there. Yeah. And there were so many little things like that, but my mind was focused on worldly things, the things that they make me fear about: debt, credit card stuff, am I going to is the IRS going to come take me down? Just, whatever, all the fear things.
Yeah. The fear programs, that's what it's designed to do. And you have to remember your magic and how to manifest and how to keep your frequency clear. Because if you just allow all of that, well, then, that's what you experience. And it looks really scary and bad.
And I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm like, who's going to date me when I tell them I don't do a podcast in a shack? Yeah. That's a fun one night date, right? Like, who's going to do that? And you're like, everything's going to work. The perfect people are going to come. You'll see. Because
you're doing a great service. I mean, this station, the whole Fringe network is so important. I mean, think of the tens of thousands of lives, people, just like you, who were looking for some sort of community, some sort of sanity check in this craziness. And, they can tune in and hear someone's story, and it can change their lives. I know it changes their lives. They call me. I've heard them. They've told me. Yeah. So it's so important what you're doing.
Yeah. And so you did the podcast, which I feel like I might have helped inspire you to do that a little bit. I'm sure you had inspiration.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, you gave me the confidence to do it and the training, because I don't know how to be a radio show host or a podcast host, and for those of you listening who don't know what we're talking about, Joe gave me the courage to start a podcast with Satya, which is also another student of the school who graduated, and we started the Love, Sex, and Hidden Agenda podcast, and it was actually just a hobby of ours, and I was hiding it from the school and from my whole email list, and I wasn't I was just doing it on the network, and I was like, okay, well, these people don't know the rest of my life, and I had it all segregated. And actually just last week, I kind of came out of the closet and merged my email list and let everyone know, like, I have this podcast. It's been running for a year. And you're going to learn all about my sex life. And but it's been such a healing vehicle for us. And it's been so beautiful. And even, we all got so triggered.
Yeah, it brought all kinds of
the token man.
It brought havoc. It brought so many spiritual triggers into our lives too. I just didn't. It was so freaky how things were happening. But it's like, I remember talking to you, and I was thinking, you got to tell. My motto is tell the truth, even if your voice shakes. Right, like. And
there was a lot of those moments.
Who you really are, because as scary as it is, there's somebody listening going, I know. Like, I know. And that's real power to me, is surrender. To say, hey, I'm human too. And I hurt. And this happened to me. And I want happiness too. Right? It's like, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's easy for me, but it's not easy for everybody. And what you did with that podcast, I still think it's going to be one of the biggest podcasts that ever come around once it really gets out there. And if you guys listen to it, you need to share it all over the place, because it's going to heal a lot of people. That sector of things is what's really hurting people, because they don't know what's going on. And you guys want to hear about some crazy stuff that has gone on and hurt, and just, oh my God, I can't believe. Like, I didn't even know how, when I was telling you, saying, you got to do this, I had no idea, Amelía, some of the stuff that you'd been through at the time, So, it's
well, thank
up.
you, because you've helped me, claim my voice and given me a platform to speak. And I think for a lot of us who've had a lot of trauma in our past, especially sexual trauma, we lose our voice. It's kind of the first thing that goes when you've been severely traumatized. And to be able to be vulnerable and share these things that I've kept secret and closeted and kind of afraid others might find out about me, to like share that by my own volition, and then to get the responses of listeners and people who've told me that they've had tremendous healing from hearing our stories, has just been such a gift. It's been such a huge gift. And right now I felt it really important during this whole pandemic time to share it more widely, because I think people are really suffering right now. Like, one thing I'm noticing is that with all the fear programming, and there is some serious dark agenda stuff going on, as we're all on house arrest, right? And I'm not going to go into all of it right now, but how it's affecting people is that our deepest childhood wounds, those core wounds, are being exposed right now. We're having to sit with it. We're having to really go into the deepest part of ourselves that's so uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable. And if you're dedicated to healing and not medicating yourself or trying to avoid it, you're going to have an incredible clearing during this time. Like, this is an amazing moment. And that's why I wanted to come on tonight, because I've had my own health crisis during this whole COVID time. I don't have COVID, but I've been dealing with vertigo and kind of unlocking some of my deep childhood wounding, which you can hear all about in the podcast. but through that, I'm noticing it's not just me. It's like everyone's going through that. We have serious crises going on. People are really hurting, really, really hurting. And I feel like the only way that I have found to get through these moments, because I've been in these moments many times in my life, is to find out why. Like, why are we here? What is this? Whenever we're faced with some great challenge, there's something beautiful being chiseled out of your soul, like a great possibility, a great skill set or resilience. If we could surrender enough and just accept what's happening and then allow the solution to arise. So each of you listening, there's some gift inside you. So whatever's angering you, whatever's troubling you, there's a voice in you. There's some gift, some piece of the puzzle that you carry that's unique to you, that's yours to bring forward and in your unique way. So what is that? And how do you nurture that seed? And to me, the only hope we have right now, because these are grim times, I'm not going to sugarcoat what's going on, because it's a dark dystopian reality, what we're faced with. But the beauty and the joy and the simple possibility that if each person were to just nurture their own seed, like their own soul essence, and really embody themselves. And to be embodied, we got to get into the dark stuff. We got to clear our shadows. We got to go into those lower chakras where we have our anger and our passion and our toxic shame and our, deep passionate self, our creative self. And that's where our power lies. That's when we can illuminate that and bring healing to that part of ourself. The world's going to change. We're going to be experiencing a very different reality.
For sure.
That's what makes me speak up and come on the show and be here with you right now.
I wanted some of your students, besides just, to come on and talk and share their experiences, just besides what I've had here. But I can tell you, when I went through that, I was like, I've been on my own for years. Like, I'm trying to I just want connection. I'm, me, like, I'm a hopeless romantic. I want to live life. I experienced so many things by myself, but I had to go through a dark night because there was something wrong as far as like how I connected. And anyways, you were like, well, listen, you're going to have to nurture yourself, and you're going to have to invite like real love and passion into your life. And those type of people will show up, but you have to be willing to set the boundary and cut off the shadow and cut off the toxicity of the ones that aren't showing up for you. And it was so hard.
That's so key.
God, do you want me to set boundaries with these people that I love and adore, but they've been sucking my life from me my whole life, but I love them, And you're like, yes, I want you to totally just set a complete wall there, tell them what you got to say, and then don't hold back. Now that was pretty scary. And I can tell you it paid off. I've had friends, I've had people come into my life. I even had even darker and deeper challenges that I had to face before that stuff even happened. It just initiated so much. It was crazy. And so
I'm so proud of you, Joe, because it wasn't easy for you. And I remember how scared you were to do that. And I think that's true of anyone who's in that situation where you're in a relationship with a really toxic person and it's sucking your energy, but you also love them.
Yeah.
It's hard to set boundaries, but it's imperative if you want to you have to hold that intention of clarity so clear. And in the end, when you do it, it turns around. Things turn around. You just have to be steadfast in that discernment.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's, anyways, that's a long story. I'll make it go on your show and tell you one day if it may be. But I want to bring on, I think the first student that you have here is, I want to say, is it Gavin? Okay.
Yeah. Is he there?
Yeah. Gavin, let me see if I can figure out which one it is. Cause I have, here we go. Here he is right here. I think we have Gavin on the line right now. Is this Gavin?
Yeah, hi, Joe.
Hey, how are you?
It is. Hi, Joe. Good,
hey,
good.
Gavin.
Hi, Amelía.
So you've been on two retreats with Amelía, and you had some dark shadow stuff that you needed to clear out, and tell us about that, and tell us what kind of gifts. Just tell us how Amelía has helped you.
See, first, I came across Amelía by an interview on your show. It was like late 2018, and I've been going through it. Like synchronicities had been a theme that had been going on through my life, and I was like just on the search for truth. I'd gone through like the whole conspiracy theory, truth movement thing. Yeah. Moving through that, and then onto consciousness, which brought me to your show, and then the whole synchronicity theme that was going on kind of followed into that interview with Amelía, and I read her book in a couple of months later, and she recommends in that book to read key by key and kind of give some time in between, and I just read it and I couldn't stop. I read all the way through it in one evening, and did the alignment exercise at the end, and just had like this really powerful awakening, this feeling like, wow, this is it. Like this is what I've been looking for. This is like the answer to it, and everything just kind of opened up there. I started on with her school, and there's like this 9-week program where you kind of delve deeper into those cues in the synchronicity book, and there's activations that go along with that, and just like all this stuff just started opening up my vision. Like before all this happened, I was I thought ETs were like just this made up thing, right? And that was like one of the first things that opened up was this vision and like telepathic communication with like these other beings, and it was so crazy. Like it felt like being strapped to a rocket, right? Like everything was just I guess it's hard to explain.
Well, you definitely had some blocks there, some energetic blocks that you had to work out, it sounds like. And now
well, everything just kind of came online all at once, and then I'm kind of, it took me like almost a full year to really get my footing in what was going on and the process and all that. But going through her retreats was super powerful. Where Amelía just the way that she just provides tools and a template and kind of just like lets you figure it out, and then like multi-dimensionally opening these doors or windows to give you opportunity to like look through it and find those aspects of self that are like just waiting to be unlocked.
So do you have a clear vision of what you're here to do now? Are you learning about it, or do you know? I mean, I'm
definitely learning about it. My life has changed dramatically in where before I would kind of just like look at the world as like all of this stuff that's happening to me, right? All of this.
You're just subject to all of the
like a victim stance.
Right.
Yeah, and now it's the perspective has changed to like the world is a mirror to reflect back to me what I need to deal with internally, and that introspection, really just clearing the shadow, doing like deep shadow work.
So before. That's pretty cool, man. Like, so that's really cool. You didn't tell me about this. This is a big surprise, Amelía. So
No, there's the big surprise for me was Gavin is like a master seer. So I don't know, Gavin, what your vision was like before you joined the school, but he became like a star student really, really quickly. And I ended up like employing him to sit on my council because his vision is so spot on. So he just activated this gift and these abilities that are really, really powerful and have it supported me and in my work tremendously. And some of it hasn't been so easy to navigate. No, Gavin? Because he sees a lot.
That's very true. Yeah.
Sometimes the gift feels like a curse, but he's really good.
Do you like you hear messages and you relay them? Like, do you hear spiritual messages and relay them?
So there's a lot of different things, like a lot of symbolism, like nature symbolism and stuff like that. But then also, just like seeing, like I would like pass through other dimensions, like parallel timelines, past lives, and it's it was kind of like there was no control of it at first, and I would do like this escapism thing where I would kind of just leave and not want to have anything to do with the 3D stuff, and just only hang out in the other dimensions. Which was it was a way of like not having to deal with real life, right? And so that was kind of way out of balance for a while there, and like through the tools that Amelía provides, I was able to kind of correct that and bring that back into balance, and it was to where I can kind of turn it off or just choose not to see stuff. Like I'll have like visions driving down the road. Like driving down the road, all of a sudden like I'll see it's like almost like a holographic overlay over like real, like 3D reality.
Yeah, so you're kind of seeing through the veil, so to speak. That's cool.
Right. Yeah.
So let me understand this. So before you found, you had this deep calling, which I think is a part of alchemy. It's like we get this deep calling in the beginning because we're in a rock bottom place, or there's just something we don't like about our lives, and there's something that's calling us. You ended up listening to her on my show, and you ended up going to Tolam in India. I mean, did you even know that? Think about that for a second, right? You're just listening to a radio show. No idea in the future you're going to be sitting in front of this woman in India and Tolam and taking school.
Hello.
And now you're like seeing stuff, man. You're seeing through dimensions. Think about. I try to tell.
It was really surreal.
I try to tell every listener about this.
I was like along for the ride.
The audience, I tell them, and I know I'm probably rambling here, but this makes me so freaking excited because everybody listening right now, you have no idea what you're capable of. You have no idea who you really are. You've been taught something completely false.
Yes. Yeah, we're caught up in misbelief. All of this whole facade of reality that we're taught from the time that we're born, all the way through school, through all of these programs that we have of the shoulds and ought tos and need tos, is just meant to tie us down, to hold us trapped in these prisons, when our souls are just screaming out to be released into this reality that we never knew was there. Like the prison doors are open, we just got to turn around and walk out the door.
And so before this happened, though, and I don't like to talk about the dark stuff too much, but it does give me a reference, right? It does give me an idea of where you've been and where you are now. Like, where were you in life? I mean, were you confused? Were you happy with your job? I mean, were you happy at all? where you know what I mean?
I had recently quit my job because I was just tired of it was a corporate job with a large company. I was an I&E tech, instrumentation and electronics, and for an oil and gas company. And every 6 months they would just come out with these threats of layoffs and rule by fear, and just felt beat down, and was just tired of it. So I had quit, both me and my former boss, and we started our own thing. But there was still just something missing, this can't be it. This can't be all there is.
That's the statement.
We're here for more.
That's the soul statement there. Is this all there is?
Yeah. Right.
I think
it's not. I mean,
I think when people say that to themselves every single time, that's your soul talking to you.
Definitely. Yeah. Just like going through all the stuff that I've worked through with Amelía and with her help and the tools that she provides, the work that she does, it felt like lifetimes, like actual lifetimes. I'm thinking back to a year and a half ago, and I was a completely different person, and I've changed at least a dozen times since then.
Wow.
Into a completely different person. And I know I'm just barely scratching the surface still. It's not even, I have not by any means reached that, knowing, even, yeah.
What if the idea of karma and dharma and the wheel of samsara and all that stuff is real, which I believe it is, then all of the stuff that you went through, all of these transmutations and changes, you're literally taking leaps over these lifetimes that you might have had to go through because of...
Oh, I feel that's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah.
That is exactly, verbatim, exactly what it felt like.
I can tell you feel more free, that's for sure. Can tell that.
Definitely. Just the fact that I'm on your show tonight, I cannot speak to more than even if it's one person in the room that I don't know, so uncomfortable. I just can't do it. If it's more than two people, I start hyperventilating. I'm trying to catch my breath. It's absolutely ridiculous, the fear that is there. So for me to even be on this show today is testimony to that transformational work. And it's finding, it's like digging through, finding your fears. The thing that's holding you back is what's behind that fear, and what's preventing us from realizing our true potential.
On the other side of fear is true bliss most of the time. True soul blissfully type things. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And Gavin, can you share what's happened with your work life? Because you said you quit your job, and then can you share what's happened since? Because I think it's pretty exciting on a material level.
Yeah,
what's changed?
Yeah, so my business partner, we've got there's three partners now, but my former boss, who is now my business partner, he's also doing the work, and we meditate. We try and meditate together every day, but it usually ends up being maybe two days a week. But it's like this whole, as we kind of bounce off of each other, and like he'll go through something and go through this whole expansion process, and then I feel like I'm down here, and then so we're kind of leapfrogging, right? I'll go through something, and then I'll expand and create space. He'll go through something, expand and create space, and all the while, our business will be growing through it all. So it's this whole personal transformation is reflected back into the business, where it also expands and grows, and
wow,
and it's really fun to watch, and it kind of it turns life into a game. You're just
cool.
Observing and watching cause and effect, and what is this pointing to, and following the synchronicities, and instead of just being beat down all the time, it's just all right, well, what yeah. Like,
you're like a kid again, right? Like a kid,
exactly.
A kid that has a future that it doesn't scare you to not know what's on the other side of it anymore. It's like being a kid again, because now you have all these dreams and aspirations of what could be. What could be.
Yeah, and the sky's the limit. I mean, we're only limited by our own by our mind.
That's right.
Our mind is the chains that limits us.
That's awesome.
Gavin, can I just brag a little bit about you?
Sure.
Is it okay? Well, I'm just so proud of him because, like he said, he went from kind of feeling defeated and broken and beaten down in his work to then starting a new company and then getting his boss to meditate with him. And now it's his business partner. And now he's also in the school. And then they made not only one company, they've created 2 companies. And
that's
they're
awesome.
rocking it, like during COVID.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
To me, yeah,
well,
it's just, yeah. Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, the whole thing with the COVID deal was that, all right, we had this opportunity to either, kind of like give up or look at it as like everybody else is giving up, so let's charge through the gates, right? Charge into the burning building and create something, and look for opportunities and where everybody else is seeing setbacks, and have fun with it. Like, life is a game. It's supposed to be like, we're not supposed to be beat down. We're supposed to be enjoying this. We chose to be here. We chose to be here for a reason, and it's not to be miserable. Those are just all programs. That's designed to keep us trapped.
That's for sure. And listen, we're at the top of the hour. I'm really, Gavin, thank you. It means a lot to all of us, on the show. I'm sure it does to Amelía, and it really means a lot to us for you to come on here and face your fear and talk about this stuff. It seems like facing fear is actually fun to you now. That's pretty cool. So yeah, there's an element to it,
but yeah, I appreciate you having me. It's an honor to be on your show, and thank you, Amelía.
Thank you, Gavin. Thank you.
So we're going to take a top of the hour. Yeah, thanks, Gavin. Really appreciate it, man. We're going to take a break here at the top of the hour. We're going to have a couple more of her students come on. And the reason why we're doing this is because every time she's come on, it's just her and I talking. Well, we want to hear from other people, and it's inspiring too. This isn't not about just them. It's about you. It's about what you're here to do. And so it's all of the anger that we felt, it can be transmuted. We don't have to be slaves to any of this stuff anymore. We don't have to be limited by our beliefs anymore. We don't have to face the karma that we're told we have to face. We can just clear it. We can access our souls a lot easier than we think. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is Amelía from Know the Self Mystery School. I know that you are in the midst of massive change. We all are. This is the great turning, the time that we all decided to be here on the planet. Do you know why you came here to be a part of this crazy time? If not, I invite you to join my mystery school. I have a 9-week course called Activate Your Mission. And in this course, you're going to learn how to erect crystal clear boundaries so that you can hear that inner still voice that's going to guide your every move. Even if you're dealing with feeling weighed down by obligations and being enslaved to the system, this course is going to give you the tools you need to illuminate your shadow and awaken to your soul's mission. The moment you sign up to the school, you are going to be greeted by not only a group of soulful spiritual warriors, but you're also going to get some massive karmic clearings, and you're going to feel the energy. It's palpable. I hope you'll join me in the school where together we're going to unlock your divine mission.
Activate your mission by going to thefringe.fm/soul mission and put in the code word fringe and receive $50 off.
Abnormal News. I'm Brad Bernards.
And I opened them up and they were seeds.
USA Today reports officials in several states said residents have reported receiving unsolicited packages of seeds in the mail that appear to be sent from China and are urging the public not to plant them.
So when I received this, I just thought, well, maybe it's just something extra from Amazon, but it just kind of seemed fishy to me.
WCHS ABC8 says several agencies in Kentucky and West Virginia have reported residents receiving suspicious packages containing seeds or masks.
I seen it, and on the front of it, it said disposable mask, and I was like, I didn't order any masks. I ripped it open, and they was in single packages.
The LHCb collaboration at CERN has announced the discovery of a new exotic particle, a so-called tetraquark. The paper by more than 800 authors is yet to be evaluated by other scientists, but has been presented at a seminar, according to reporting in Inverse.com. The finding marks a major breakthrough in a search of almost 20 years carried out in particle physics labs all over the world. George Swig from CERN and Murray Gell-Mann from Caltech had struck upon the same solution. Swig called these building blocks ACEs, while Gell-Mann chose the term that we still use today, quarks. Read about the news at parabnormalradio.com. I'm Brad Bernards, Parabnormal News.
I'm Ryan Gable of the Secret Teachings Radio Show, and you're listening to KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM. Check out my show, The Secret Teachings, Monday through Friday, right here on The Fringe, 11 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern, U.S. time.
2020 has been such a strange year. I think everyone can agree on that. And it's becoming more and more difficult to keep up with all the news stories. I'm Jess Rogie with the Rogie Report News here on the Fringe FM. I cover everything from space news to paranormal news to cryptid encounters. Well, basically everything Fringe. So remember to listen to the Rogie Report News on the Fringe FM.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system, and get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com, and like me, you'll be glad you did.
Hey, this is No Way Jose, a Northern California Piscean stuck in the Arizona desert. I'm a void walker, and I got the shoes to prove it. So what do I do when my soul yearns to delve deep into the realm of the unknown? I aim my satellite straight into the night sky and catch a smooth ride on the KTLK-DB radio waves. I tune into Lighting the Void with Joe Root on the Fringe FM.
Joe, Lighting the Void is the best show on the planet. This is Barney, your friend from Facebook. Thank you and all the crew for all you do. Namaste, my friend.
This is Macon from the foothills of North Carolina, and I am a void walker.
G'day, void walkers. This is Lily from down under Australia. The world may be small, the enigma is greater. So let your curiosity take you for a journey with Joe Root.
Hey, this is V, coming in from Central Maryland, and I am a void walker.
This is Kevin Doherty, a beginner void walker. I'm from Vancouver, BC. I know a little about a lot, and as Leonard Skinner said, I guess the rest. I learned a lot from Mr. Root in the show, and I heard it from the beginning. I knew right then he was going to be a new Art Bell. Thanks for all your shows, and keep it up.
Hey, this is Derek from Mass, a.k.a. the Night Stalker, and I'm a void walker.
This is Mark from Chicago, and I walk the void to ascertain what is consciousness.
My name is Jared Johnson, and I'm from Humboldt County, California. I do not know all the answers to the questions about reality. I do not claim to know the ultimate truth about life. I seek that which has been made hidden as a part of a family of explorers of consciousness. I'm a void walker. Thanks, Joru.
Hi, this is Kronox from Belgium, and you're listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop.
This is Dancing Dave from Surviving the System, and you're listening to the Fringe FM. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the best revenge is success.
Follow the Fringe FM on Facebook and Twitter at the Fringe FM.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by the moon. Yes, when looking for a celestial body to set off the little understood supernatural forces that turn them into horrible monsters, more werewolves choose the moon than any other satellite. Remember, it's round, it's yellow, it goes around the Earth every 28 1/4 days. It's the moon.
All right, welcome back to Lighting the Void. If you're just tuning in with us tonight, Ameliía Aeon Karris from Know the Self is with us to talk about her new course called Activate Your Mission that is pretty much changing lives right now, but it has everything to do with what's going on with us, with change. Not just, I mean, COVID, like I said before, is a part of it, but there's so much going on right now where people are being asked to change. And if you guys remember, I'll say this again, it was not but maybe like a month ago when I was really starting to dabble into astrology that I noticed what others were noticing, that this was a time when the change had to happen. Usually in our lives, we're presented opportunities to change, but every now and then this energy comes around that you're going to change. So why not make it easy on yourself, right? And this is the best way to do it with Amelía, who I trust and who has helped me in my life, and others too, and her students are on to talk to us about what they've been through as well. And again, you can go to thefringe.fm/soul mission, and just because you're a listener of ours, you'll get a discount off of that to join up. And I'm in there too, so you know, come on over. And Amelía, thanks so much for doing this too. This is really a big deal, I think, for a lot of people, so thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
So the next person that we're going to bring on is Jenny, right? So let me make sure we have Jenny. Are you there?
Hey there. Hey, Joe. Hey, Amelia.
Hi.
Hey, Jenny.
So tell us, Jenny, what happened? When did you first like? Tell us how you found Amelia.
You're in the hot seat.
You're on the air.
Alrighty. Yeah. Wow. So,
where did we meet? We met in Tulum.
I met you through Kristen. I met you in person in Tulum, and I was introduced to your work through Kristen, who was my Reiki master. And she, I think it was like after our first session together or something, she said I should check out your school. And then that's when I started following you. And prior to that, I had a sort of breakdown. I was working in tech, quit my job, got very sick, and was in this deep depression and state of anxiety that got so severe following leading up to the election in 2016. And then, I was just in a place where I wasn't working. I had to be fed by my boyfriend at the time. I couldn't raise my voice above a whisper. It was just so deep and dark. I just felt like super out of place. I felt like there's something wrong with me, and I could see how things were starting to unravel in the world. And the night of the election, I had an activation where I was basically told that I had a purpose, that it was time, that I was here for a reason. And it was all this spiritual stuff. And I was an atheist at the time. Like I had just like denounced God.
Oh, wow.
And And then all this stuff started happening where I felt like I was riding on this beautiful, colorful wind that was just pushing through all these synchronicities and magic. Like it was like I was stepped into a musical all of a sudden. And life just felt like
like Alice in Wonderland.
Just like people, like things were just happening like magically. I'm like, oh, okay, this is different. And I was shook. I was absolutely shook. I ended up ending my relationship. I was kind of erratic. I was unstable. Just out of all this energy coming in and having flipped so far from being depressed into this space of like, oh my gosh, this is a world of infinite possibility, and I have this light in my heart, and I just want to lead with that. And so I started getting more interested into basically anything that people were telling me, like, oh, that's not real, or that's fake, or that's lies, whatever. So I started getting interested in like aliens and the paranormal and astral projection, lucid dreaming, things like that. And I ended up finding a Reiki teacher at a crystal shop, and she spoke highly of Amelía. And so I just started following Amelía. I was just watching because I was still in a place like I wasn't really sure exactly. Like I'm coming into all this spiritual stuff, yet there's a part of me that was like, this is crazy. Like this, what is going on here? So I was just like still getting a sense of like what is what. And eventually I did reach out to Amelía. I think I was like following you for like a year or so. And yeah, I was like, you know what? It's time. And I decided to reach out and join the 9-week course, which follows the synchronicity book. And it just, at that time, I was like, I forget the synchronicities that happened, but it felt like this is it. Like, she's my teacher. I need to reach out to her. I just connected to her so much in the way that she was like showing up in her moon blogs and all her work, and just listening also to these radio broadcasts is when I really got a sense like, oh my gosh, yeah, okay, this is legit. And I just need to do it. And so I did. And so, yeah, I followed the course, learned ways to ground myself, to ground that incoming energy that I had, because I was just like, I still had like these bouts of anxiety and just being unsure. And by following the course, I started to really get a sense of myself and how to ground that energy and be here, be present, be clear, and move through without any fear or self-doubt. So that, I feel like working with Amelía has been really instrumental in helping me with my self-doubt and really trusting my intuitive sense that I actually had since I was a little girl. And basically all those things that I thought were wrong with me, like being very quiet, being very sensitive, being a little more gentle-natured, I thought that those things were bad. Like those things weren't the things that people really sought in the workspace. And so I often felt shame for who I was. And then like being in the school, I started to really get a sense like, oh, these are gifts. So this is a gift. It's a gift to be this way. It's a gift to be sensitive, to feel so much, to really, really feel. And yeah, I was, it really helped me bring that strength and carry that light into my work. I was working as a designer and an art director in tech. So I'm here in Silicon Valley in the Bay Area, and that's pretty much what people do. And I have studied graphic design since right after high school. And so I knew that was part of what I wanted to do, was like help bring visual communication to people and help solve problems. And yeah, I really wanted to put heart into the work, and I found some pretty cool jobs, and yet there's always something missing, kind of like what Gavin says, like there's something missing here. And it was just a lot of office politics, and just a lot of deadlines, a lot of meeting the bottom line, a lot of, meeting goals, and it just felt so misaligned. And that's what I was feeling like prior to the activation. And then afterwards, like I needed to get money somehow, and I needed to work, and I was really resistant to going back into the tech world. However, since I was in the school, I did have the tools to navigate the tech world in a different way, where I started to see like, oh my gosh, like there's a purpose to my being here. And it might not even be directly in the work that I'm doing. It might not be like this design, this website that I'm working on. It's more the presence that I bring, and just like the sense of heart that I bring to the connections I make with the people around me, mm-hmm. and just kind of showing a different way of being and of like finding joy and meeting people with compassion, because I feel like a lot of people get like a bad rap and like being stuck in these realms of sales and marketing and business. And I started to really get a sense of why people are in these systems, and why we're working in all this, and how we just get so misdirected and confused by these systems we're kind of stuck. We feel stuck in. And then I feel by connecting to myself and to my heart, it really gave me a sense of like, oh, now I know how to navigate this. And now I know how to affect things. And now I know how to bring like a sense of love that can often be missing from these spaces, or like people just aren't, they just don't even feel the need to even think about that or recognize that. So like I was very grateful that because of this new way that I found to navigate the tech, I ended up meeting beautiful people who are in alignment too, and
that's awesome.
Who feel connected to me, and and they feel like connected to this something bigger. And sometimes we don't know how to call it or what it is, but we do have a sense of like, this doesn't feel right.
It's your soul family. You're feeling them, like
yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. Go ahead though. So wait, is this Wild at Heart Kristen that you met that initiated all this?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Kristen's been on the show before too. Yeah. And Jenny, tell us if you want to share like what you're doing now, because now she's in the mentorship program with me and she's grounding her mission. You want to give a sneak peek? She's not fully graduated yet, but she's been doing some big work and having some big breakthroughs.
Yeah, give us some spoilers. Just a few.
Some spoilers. All right. I can do that. Yeah, so like I was in a tech job last year. It was actually a beautiful fit for what I needed, and Amelía was the one to guide me through that, because I was still a little resistant about being in tech. And I left that job at the end of the year and decided, you know what, I really just want to go for it. I want to see how I can do something on my own and really honor my gifts, because I started really coming into more of them. And so I joined Amelia's Stand in Your Power program in January. And I loved this idea of working with Amelía one-on-one and having her guidance as I really like excavated and explored myself and to see exactly what I could bring, no matter how weird it looked. And I just loved that like I talked to Amelía, and I loved how it was like she wanted to be there and just be a loving presence, while I brought in something that could be totally, I don't know, bizarre to everyone else. So
cool.
Yeah, we've been working. So yeah, I love that. So we've been working together. I've started to see like how I am an artist. Like I'm truly an artist at heart. That's like my deepest calling, my deepest longing is to express and to use my voice and my artistic voice, however that comes, whether that's music, whether that's singing or with art. And so I've been working on how to use that to sort of alchemize what's going on. And I've also been working on having those gifts and calling more people to come forth and explore their creativity and explore what is their unique creative voice, and helping them connect to the universe, to their heart, so they can connect to others. And yeah, it's been really beautiful. Like I've been coaching now and starting to get started with that. And there are these ideas of bringing this sort of work, this sort of methodology to design as well. So like helping people who are creatively inclined and possibly feeling stuck in tech, and helping them kind of maneuver through that space, sort of similar to how I did, and find like why they're there, or maybe possibly move out of there, or like go back to that creative calling that they've had since they were a kid. And a lot of what I use, thanks. Yeah, and a lot of what I like focus on is inner child is very important to me. The imagination, joy, and the interesting thing is about this too is like, and that this is something that I've been working with Amelía, is that there's this idea like if you're like this joyful, positive, like maybe quote unquote positive person, that's all there is. Yet I very much do delve into the shadow side. Like I have to be very familiar with that side, and I like carry that sort of light to be able to navigate these spaces, and I'd love to show more people how to do that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's exciting. Jenny's like in a place where she's bringing some really unique gifts together in a unique way, and she just started like crafting her new business offer, and she has a few new clients, and it's exciting. So I think we'll be seeing more. If you guys want to follow Jenny, you have an Instagram account, no? To see her process?
Oh, yeah. If
what is your...
wants to follow me.
Yeah. What's your Instagram handle?
My Instagram handle is @Jetamoro. So that's @JETA M as in monkey ORO. And yeah, you can find me there. I'm going to start posting more things and just showing up. And a lot of it will be goofy. A lot of it will be fun and inspiring. And so, yeah, be happy to meet anyone there.
Yeah. Thank you for
follow
sharing
your process.
That.
Thank you, Jenny.
That is amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us. Went from atheist to wondering what all is this it to like now she's being the light for other people and 100% unique and expressive, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's
and
amazing.
vocal. She couldn't even speak before.
That's really cool. Yeah, are you serious? Like that person we just talked to, Jenny, she couldn't speak before? She was just so soft-spoken. You could barely hear her when she talked, and she was so shy, and she's like doing public speaking. She's showing up. Yeah, she's rocking. I mean, she's come a long ways. Wow.
And I can't wait to see what's next because we're not done. She's like on the brink of something big.
We're not done with the students either. Got one last one, and I want to make sure I'm saying your name right. Is it Valentine or Valentine? Valentine. Okay. Valentine, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Sure.
Hey.
Of course.
So you're Amelia's newest student?
Hello.
You're 2 to 3 weeks
She's my newest
in?
rock star.
Okay.
I am a new student, although I have been following Amelía for, I think, like almost 4 years. I also was introduced to you, Amelía, by Kristen.
Oh.
And it was on my radar that maybe someday I might work with you, but I didn't know when. And then I'm kind of the opposite. I missed some of Gavin's story, but I'm a little bit of the opposite, where I have, had coaches and taken so many leaps off of the cliff and, waited for the bridge to show up and actually, you guys haven't even asked me a question. I just kind of
Keep going.
Keep going.
Just go. Okay.
Yeah.
So actually it's pretty funny because there was some things coming in. I had come back from Shasta. I woke up in the morning and got kind of a message about what I needed to do, which was, the message was, are you prepared to commit to your sobriety? And at that point, I was kind of like, I'm good. I have my little tobacco. I got my little glass of wine. This is a good point in my life.
Right. And
then, the George Floyd thing happened. And I live in the country, and, I feel that I've actually, since I lived in LA in the 90s, and I had committed to a Raj yoga practice that came from India, I really, longed to contribute to the world. And I remember asking just what can I do, and then this message came in, it's you can be the change that you would like to see in the world. And that has been a theme since I, started that practice, and have since left it, but it was a huge part of my life. And, so then here I am in the country. It's there's one protest. There's no Black people, barely any people of color here. And, this idea again of how can I contribute? And it was the sobriety, and it had all of the qualities of a threshold. I would be nervous, I'd be vulnerable, I'm scared, I'll feel, I'll feel like an outsider again. And so I was okay, I'm going to do it. And then also I was getting a lot of intuitive hits for other people. So I would be in meditation and get a hit that somebody should, be ready for their healing art, or, you know what I mean? It's have your open sign on, whatever that means to you. And so I would get these hits, and I'd relayed them, and those people would feel that. And then I was kind of well, you're not really, I've tried so many times. I had coaches, I paid tons of money, I've had mentors, and everything would kind of be really bright and shiny and be all alive, and then it would fizzle. And I also felt like I was following synchronicities and messages and all the things. And so really, kind of dragging, just all right, I'm going to try again, I guess. I reached out to Amelía, and also not to commit to any programs. I was kind of hoping maybe every once in a while I could just have a powwow, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Am I still on?
Yeah, you're still.
We're here. We're just listening.
And then, it's the phone line always falls out. And then what was funny was actually I had a total kind of sabotage moment the night before, And like I had got drunk. I'm just being honest. Like I totally had like a fallout. And then it was like, again, you know, I got on the phone ready to actually cancel Amelía, not by anything personal, but these are the voices that happen, right? Like, we don't need to do that. This is cool. Like, we've done this a million times. Like, you know, you don't want to put your money again. And so actually I got on the phone ready to cancel, but wanted to follow through with my commitment. And then it was like, Amelía barely spoke, and I was just like, okay, how much, like, what credit card, and then pretty much as soon as it began, it was like the Phoenix fire just was like blasting me, like basically why everything in me didn't want to move forward was because what was about to happen, which was, I'm not going to go into detail, but I listened to the podcast, Amelia's podcast, and anybody who's listening, please listen to it, especially if you've had trauma or you just even feel inclined. Like, I have learned so much, but I did get triggered, and I was just having a great day, feeling so good. I'm in this mystery school, everything's cool, and then it's like total trigger, total melt, and kind of, and then, but basically it was really incredible because the sobriety, I needed to be a fully clear, strong container. And then Amelía works with these other amazing healers. So there's like the clearing, the container was ready, and, you know, you were just, oh man, you were just so, it makes me almost want to cry. You're such a fierce support. This memory that I had been really, I knew something was hidden. I did not know how to access it. I had gone to hypnosis, tons of, you know, ayahuasca, all the things. And it came forward. And then it was like, as soon as it came forward, all these puzzle pieces of my life just went, and it was just like, you know, just a total reclamation. It was like the soul parts. So, bum.
Well,
we're speechless.
So can you tell me, like, that is kind of different, and it's really cool because you went through a lot of these programs. You're very familiar with spirituality and looking for answers and change and expressing yourself, finding your purpose. But what has Amelía done, like, for you that do you think it just far outweighs everything else that you've done, or let's say coaches or mentors? If you could say one thing.
I don't know if I can,
that's
but
all right.
let me try and be really essential. Because I have been a part of your teachings, Amelía, and that actually because I was on your email list, and I'd had so many teachers that, like, I was devoted to, you know, like I wanted to follow in their footsteps, turn on me, be so evil and just shocking, you know, like my system was shocked. It took me like a year to process each of these really insane things that happened. So I was so weary, and I was cynical. I mean, I'm always a little bit suspicious and cynical, but not in my heart, but it's kind of how I've navigated life. And so, but I know what it means to have resonance. You know, I trust resonance, and Amelía has resonance. Like, she resonates the frequency that moves my body to chills and that's why as soon as she talked on the phone that day, when I was ready to, you know, change gears, it was like as soon as she spoke, my whole body was vibrating. I also know the voices that try and tell you to do something otherwise. I'm like, voices are turned up to, you know, maximum volume. My whole body is vibrating. I feel really scared. Cool. This is it. You know, this is the next threshold. And, you know, Amelía, it's hard to talk in the Slack sometimes to go deep, but because I've been around so many teachers and was like a yogini, like deeply, almost like nun style for 13 years, I have been very fortunate to be around people that are masters. And my experience with people that are true masters is they are very accessible. And so the experience that I have right now being in the school is I've never had a teacher like you. You're very accessible. You're fierce, which I love. There's no fear in that. It's very new. It's like a new technology of how to be a teacher, be a master, be adept in like these crazy realms, and then also just like, be a human. That is like very relatable and like really, really captures my heart personally. So for me, it's a feeling of relief and like I have not lost the resonance, and I don't feel like I will because I trust it. I'm a sound healer,
Wow, I didn't even know that about you with your other teachers, and I'm sort of speechless here and on. My heart's so warm, like that you would trust me. Like I've had that same experience with teachers. I've been so hurt, and I know that feeling so well. So just hearing your words is like, I don't know, but Valentine brings in huge heart resonance to the whole school. Like since she joined the school, the whole thing has like amped up to a whole other level. And now I just got more understanding wise to hear your backstory. Thank you so much for sharing all of that.
Well, I want to say too, you're welcome. And then the other thing is, I named myself when I was 18, and I fully came into my name when I was, I don't know, like 30 or something. And, my whole name is Valentine Lovecraft Falcon. And so actually it's really cool to hear this reflection about the heart resonance because I've had to literally grow into my name. I think you have that too, don't you, Amelía? So
yeah, I totally get it. Well, you are an embodiment of your name.
Thank
Thanks
you. Yeah, so
sharing.
it's like I've been weary. I've been a weary pilgrim, lost, and not even trying to be found by the time I got to Amelía and by the time I'm in the school. And now a whole new level is presenting itself, and I'm also in the unknown because I'm just began as well. So,
well, I don't know what to say, Amelía. Thank you for sharing that story, by the way, with us. That's really, really cool. I'm kind of intimidated now. Like I got all these spiritual people around me. Like sometimes I'm used to knowing or being the spiritual guy, but now I feel like I'm just surrounded by all these wonderful people.
Oh, come on.
You remember? Hey, do you remember though when I did? You remember that one time, Amelía, when I came into your it was one of those sessions.
It was Kristen's session.
It was a Kristen session, yeah. And I was like,
yeah.
I was like, whoa, there's all these super hot spiritual people in here. I just pulled my hat over my eyes and I was like, I can't. Like, here's the thing. When I say super hot, people think, well, Joe's all about the physical. You don't understand. Like when people are being when they're expressing their individuality, their soul is expressing themselves or being vulnerable, or there's something extremely attractive to me. I don't know. Is that weird? It just is that way for me.
No, I think that's true beauty. Plus you were on a Zoom call with like a group of high priestesses, so I don't think you were expecting that.
I felt like
and
I was
the only man.
Yeah, right. So I just like took my hat and dipped it over my eyes. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if any of y'all are old enough if you ever seen Barbarella, but
oh yeah, that's one of my favorite movies.
So yeah, this is amazing. Like anybody that wants to get on this, like do it. And just to be clear, I know that there are some people that are going to the site and they're like, wow, this is, I'm going to tell the truth on the show regardless, because that's who I am, even if my voice shakes. It's like, man, this is kind kind of pricey. Well, you have to understand, like, there's two types of ways to do this. And then the way Amelía does it, it'll be worth it because it's going to change your life forever. And there's a lot of people out there that are just going to like sell you stuff or a reading or $20 or this or that. But what Amelía does is what she was meant to do. And this is what she does is also what she will teach you to do. And what it is how she values herself. So think about like the retreats. This is a thing that you do a lot that I can't wait. I still want to go on one. It is totally
well, now I'm doing
worth it.
private retreats in Tulum. So anyone who wants to get away and have a private retreat, either for yourself or for like a small private group, I'm doing custom retreats just for people who are able to travel right now. I've teamed up with like a small boutique hotel here, and it's all, COVID proof. Everybody has their own private villa. So there's plenty of extra space. So it'll be fun. Let's see how we can gather during these crazy times. But retreats are fun because we get to actually meet in person and the work goes really quickly. But
more intimate setting, and it's intense. It's more intense. It's real. I'm just saying, this is what I want to do. I can't wait to go on one. I've been wanting to go on one for a long time. I don't think I could have done the outside toilet thing though. In that one of, I don't know which one.
The Mount Shasta ones. Yeah. Well, yeah. Here's the thing about the school and the pricing is like you get lifetime access, and this is work that is foundational shifting work. So it's hard to quantify the value of a life upgrade. So like that's why we brought people on today, because I wanted you to hear other people's stories. Because I can talk about the school, but how is it going to impact your life? And everyone's unique, but it's an alchemical container. When people join the school, I have a colleague who clears the Akashic field of family curses, helps you with your soul profile. We clear cords and contracts and entities and things that you didn't even know were weighing you down, implants. Like you feel like a new person without even opening the first lesson, because you're being worked on and it's palpable. And people sign up and they're like, whoa, what just happened? And
that's intense.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So the cost is really your commitment to show up. I've tried to do the school more inexpensive. Sometimes I do offer scholarships and things for people who are really in need. But what I find is when people put down something they value, they show up and the work happens so fast and they end up recovering the money really quickly. Like multiple students of mine have told me how they just start making money the minute they sign up also. So there's a lot of magic in the work that we do. And part of what we're doing is to learn how to release the money madness and the money stories and all the old drama, karma, and old attachments that we have to fear and
money,
lack.
The fear of not having money, maybe, or or saying, "Wow, that's a lot of money." I'm going to tell you something.
Because some people tell me that it's super cheap. So it really just depends on where you're at, what how you value things.
It's so, like I look at it the way like Gavin does. I used to look at it not too long ago, because you know me, not too long ago, like it was something that just ruled or oppressed my life, right? And after I went through this thing and you told me these people were going to come into my life, these people did come into my life, right? And they also reminded me of some of the teachings that you taught me. Like I got a donation one time, it was like $300. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know what to say to this person. And they were like, well, first they said it just straight to my face, which is something I highly respect and adore. they're like, well, first off, you need to just stop thinking that $300 is a lot of money, because it's not.
Yeah. Because for them, it probably wasn't.
Yeah, it's like you're worth way more than that. And you need to change your whole mindset about that, you know?
Yes.
And it got me thinking,
well,
I'm like, this
that
is,
heart who told you that.
She's right. Like this is like a video game. You're playing Zelda. You got your money down there. You got your hearts, your health. And if you, like Gavin said, you look at it as like, hey, we're children of God or source. We can manifest whatever we want. Whatever's been telling us that we can't, or we don't deserve love, we don't deserve wealth, health, abundant relationships, and freedom of expression. Whatever's been telling us that we can't have that is just, it's just a dark force. It's all an illusion. That's the real illusion. And it still persists today. Obviously it does. And these times are a bit harder for others because we don't have the connections that we used to have. But maybe you could give us some advice on someone that, because is saying, I really want to do this and I just don't think I'll ever be able to afford it. I think you will be. I think if try and experiment, and I'll just let you take it from here. Amelía, what do you think if someone was to say that?
Yeah, well, I think that, you know, when we have a strong intention and we want something badly, the universe conspires to bring it to us. I have countless examples of where I really wanted to do something and suddenly I had the money to do it. And I'm sure you do too. And it's like that with time. Think about, you know, how busy you might be with work or whatever, and you don't have any time to socialize, but then you fall in love. And suddenly you have all the time in the world to chat with this person, right? You just find time, you make time, right? It's the same with money. Like we make money out of nowhere. If any of you have tried to work with money in abundance and abundance thinking, you know that another friend of mine who's also a student or was a student, is a graduate, she's been doing this like 21-day abundance thinking, reprogramming. And in the second week or something, she just made $20,000 and she's in disbelief. She's like, how is that even possible? Is it going to all shut down? It's
too good to be true. That too good to be true
she thinks
program.
It's too good to be true. And I'm like, no, you're doing the work. That's how it is. We live in an abundant universe. And when we realize, and when we decreate the old programs, like destruct the old programs that are keeping our mind hostage, and we allow the real codes to be embodied inside our system, and like our thoughts and everything is in alignment with these higher truths, then suddenly we're experiencing joy and abundance that we didn't even know was possible. But we have to decide that. Like if we're just going around in being led around by the nose by whatever entertainment and not really thinking for ourselves and just following others and not really questioning and sitting and listening and doing the work on ourselves, we're not going to experience that. It's not going to come to us. And then we're going to say, see, it didn't work. See, you know, I'm the person suffering and this is the person who has everything. Well, you have to take responsibility for yourself if you want to really create change. And all of you listening, if you're still with us, you're definitely here to create change on the planet. You're here because you needed to hear this tonight. And whether you work with me or not, what's important to me is that you activate your mission, because we need you to show up right now. We are at a time where it's critical. Like you can't be on the sidelines anymore. Like wake up and do what you think is right. Like do what lights you up. Do something that really makes you happy and inspires you. And you know what? You can make a living doing it. And if you don't know how to do that, book a free call with me, and I'll probably tell you pretty quickly how you can make a living doing that. Everything is possible. We limit ourselves by our limiting beliefs. So I just pray that you guys are hearing this message and taking it to heart and finding a mentor, a guide, or a community that you resonate with, that you can work with, because it takes all of us. I mean, we need to, we're in this together, right? Like this pandemic is worldwide. Everybody's in it. We're all floating in the middle of the ocean. So let's activate and play, you know,
I honestly
do what we came here to do.
I honestly believe that consciousness created the internet, even though some people say technology can be a curse. It can be, just like anything else. But I think we as creators created it so that we can connect deeper and get more information and express ourselves in ways that we couldn't before. And I got to tell you, like right now, if you're struggling, I'm not saying that I'm rich or anything, I'm not. But if you're struggling, there are so many ways that you can make there are websites out there right now that you can work just on the side. What if you're working like a minimum wage job that you can, I'll start leaving links for people for this stuff. If you're really slave to like a minimum wage type job, I'm going to make a page. I'm going to give you my word. I'm going to make a page to show you guys how to make a little, just at least that amount of cash, because we've created that as creators to be able to do that. And it's insane to not value yourself like the way Amelía values herself, the way she's teaching her students to do it. Because as soon as you realize your own gift and what you have to offer, then you'll be like, this is what I want to do. Then there's still going to be struggles. I'm still going through it myself. Like, am I really supposed to, how do I feel about charging for this stuff? Well, I don't feel right. Well, that's all childhood stuff, you know? It's really... Yeah,
when we have wounding and trauma, we're going to have a lack of worth. And that's pretty much everyone that has come through the school that I know has had to go through, valuing themselves and how to value themselves. And it's just part of it. And so for those of you who are listening that are struggling and you feel like the mystery school isn't for you right now, grab my book, Synchronicity, Unlock Your Divine Destiny. It's $17 on Amazon. I also have a free video course to master the art of change, which can help you annihilate your fears. So you can grab that on my website or on the Fringe FM. You'll see links to that. But there's tons of free resources out there. The podcast has been a huge alchemical container for people who are dealing with sexual trauma and sexual shame, or just wanting to create a relationship that they love. But do something for yourself. This is not a time to be idle and just, waste away watching Netflix or, drinking yourself stupid or, grabbing whatever you can to numb out. And I know that that's, it's a temptation right now because things are rough and people are dying and, things are not looking good and it's not looking easier. And the more news you get, the more, it's just getting to a level of psychotic. So do yourself a favor, like disconnect from anything that's sucking your energy. Disconnect from this whole authoritarian rule and the mainstream news and start thinking for yourself, dive inside yourself and find your creative spirit, like what lights you up, get into a hobby, something, anything that can bring you joy, do that. And be with people you love and that lifts you up, and only those people. Like use the quarantine as a reason to stay away from anyone you think is toxic in your life, and do some self-work. There's so much out there, I just imagine, like, what if everybody comes out of quarantine like having awakened to what they're here to do? I mean, welcome to the new earth. I mean, we are the new earth architects, so let's create the world we want to live in.
I think that's exactly what's going on. I think what we don't know, the reason why so many people don't know what this is, it's just like a virus in your body that or in a computer where the code changes. And if you study biology deep enough, and I've talked to somebody that knows quite a bit about it, they're a mystery. Viruses, they really are a mystery. They don't know where they come from. And to me, it could just be, mother, the great mother saying, hey, we got to change something here in a big way. So I'm going to put these people where they have to, I don't know, go inside themselves. They're forced to this time. And,
I think that everything is perfect. Like, just try this on for those of you who are feeling stuck or need a mantra, just say everything is perfect, everything is happening in exactly the right timing. And just repeat it over and over and over again to yourself, no matter what happens. Everything is perfect, exactly as it is. If we can see the situation like that, we can see that it's all designed to awaken us to our greatness.
Do you still... Just curious real quick before we get out of here. Do you still have that free meditation? That thing changed my life. Yes. If you sign up for my email list over on my website, you'll get it as a welcome gift. And it's also on my website, knowtheself.com/video. But yes, you can get the free meditation to learn how to hold yourself sovereign. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, it's just a basic meditation so that you can activate your starseed and really awaken to this genius that lives within you. So do the exercises every day, because once we train that muscle, you can't put it back to sleep once it's woken up. Yeah, that meditation really, I did a lot of meditations before that one. And it was all about your sovereignty and your own, holding your energy. The visualizations that you do the best meditations, by the way. I wish you would do like 100 more guided meditations. They're awesome. And thank you for coming on too. Like, this is great. And I hope all of you guys do go to the link that she gave us for that discount. If you're really interested, just go to the fringe.fm/soul mission. Make sure you put in the offer code FRINGE so you can get your discount. And then, give me feedback. Give us feedback. Even if it's not that, or if it's the podcast, if it's anything that Amelia has done, let me know and I will let her know. Or just go to her website and sign up and let her know. And yeah, thanks again for coming on. It's really cool having you here again. Thank you, Joe. And thanks to Valentine and Jenny and Gavin. That was really sweet. Yeah, it was cool to have them too. And I promise you guys, you need to go check out. The archives are caught up. Yes, they are. They are totally caught up. And this one will be out by tomorrow, too, with all of the links. And please, you guys, have a great weekend. Love yourselves. Express yourselves. Think positively. Be optimistic. And don't copy the show without written permission. And music was by Chronox and Steezy Stevie. We'll see you guys next week. Stay tuned for The Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable. More of the Fringe FM broadcasting coming up. Good night. On this program do not necessarily reflect those of the Fringe FM, KTLK Digital Broadcasting, its sponsors, affiliates, or staff. Listener discretion is advised.